So it seems Sabima Mahmood has been a bit busy, hasn't she? She's apparently managed to claw back a whopping £70 million in what the Home Office calls excess profits from companies running asylum hotels. And that is obviously a lot of cash, and hopefully that will fill up or at least a little bit of Rachel Reeves' black hole rather than making the rest of us fork that out, eh? But the Home Secretary has managed to recoup £74 million to be exact from these suppliers who are running over 200 hotels, housing about 32,000 migrants. And apparently this all came about after a review spotted those excessive profits that were way over than the agreed thresholds in those massive contracts with the Home Office. And all this apparently is part of a bigger picture following a pretty scathing MP's investigation. And they found out that the Home Office had blown billions of pounds on housing migrants in hotels due to some serious incompetence, which obviously, yes, wherever Labour seems to be concerned, incompetence will reign supreme, in my opinion. But the cost of these 10-year asylum accommodation contracts had skyrocketed from a £4.5 billion to a jaw-dropping £15.3 billion, which obviously, yes, is a massive amount of money, something which should never have happened in the first place, in my opinion, and wouldn't have done if Labour did have the balls to copy the Tony Abbott style of approach. Australia's then Prime Minister at the time, if I remember rightly, who said anyone who enters this country via this route will no longer be given asylum. And apparently, from what I heard, the illegal immigration over there stopped overnight. And it's a pity that we don't do that as well, because then hopefully it'll stop overnight here as well. And people who do actually want to come here legally will have to apply via the legal route and get enough points required to enter the country legally, something which they also don't seem to want to do. More than likely because they got a golden carrot dangled upon them from the government, it seems, a lot of the time, doesn't it? Hey, you get a nice big 4-star hotel bed, I'm guessing, 3 trips out maybe to the cinema, and who knows what else. It's just absolutely crazy, in my opinion, that this even happened to begin with. And the fact that this is still going on is disastrous and going to affect our public services by quite a bit, in my opinion, as well. But apparently the committee wasn't too happy, pointing out that officials had failed to get back tens of thousands in excess profits from those firms. And despite costs going up, the Home Office hadn't actually collected the £46 million it was owed from just 2 companies. And the MPs, who are from different parties, said that the money should be going towards public services, not sitting pretty in private businesses' accounts, which, yes, is right, isn't it? And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure if we owed the government, us normal people owed the government money, then perhaps, who knows, they'd be coming after us a lot more sooner. But as of June this year, there were apparently still 32,095 migrants living in hotels. And it's costing a staggering £2.1 billion a year, or apparently £145 per migrant per night, which is 6 times more than the £23.25 a night for other rented accommodation. So they should really be pulling their finger out, shall we say, and doing something about it. I think, if anything, perhaps 2 ways might be better. Number 1, housing them all on the Bippy Stockholm, that barge, remember, which Keir Starmer wasn't exactly too happy to begin with when it was suggested, in my opinion. Or number 2, if they were happy but to stay in tents because they were fleeing war or whatever else, then presumably wouldn't they still be happy to live in that tent if they thought they were no longer in danger of war? Although, in my opinion, anyone who comes over from France illegally surely can't be fleeing war, because France is a safe country, isn't it? And therefore, why can't they stay there? It shouldn't be up to them. They should just be happy being in the first safe country they arrive at, and I think that needs to be set in stone, personally. But anyway, Miss Mahmood would mention that the Home Office had managed to cut costs by £700 million in the past year, and she said this government inherited asylum hotel contracts that were not delivering good value for taxpayers' money. Well, yes, they obviously weren't, but the Labour Party itself, in my opinion, is definitely not good value for taxpayers' money. But she added they've already saved £700 million and are recouping even more in excess profits. And by the end of this Parliament, she promised every asylum hotel will be closed. The MP's report, though, had pointed out a flawed contract design and incompetent delivery, and that let hotel contractors house more and more asylum seekers in hotels instead of a cheaper accommodation. And they also noted that there were no penalties for poor performance at these migrant hotels, even though they were made of up to 75% of the spending on asylum accommodation. And the committee said the Home Office missed a golden opportunity to renegotiate contracts when they had to suddenly ramp up hotel use during the COVID pandemic. And this let companies increase their profits six-fold, which obviously is a massive amount of our money going to waste there, in my opinion. And the number of hotels hit 400, housing 56,000 migrants at their peak. The MPs, though, what did they reckon? They say that profit share clauses failed to account for the large expansion of hotel accommodation, generating vast profits for providers. And they urged the Home Office to make sure that future contracts consider the overall cash value profits to stop providers from making excessive returns from increased demand. And the Home Office, they said that £74 million they recovered will stay with them to help offset this year's asylum spending, bringing in some significant savings. And officials are apparently keen to use public money more productively and efficiently. Well, I personally will believe that when I see it. But they've invited potential suppliers to chat about new contracts for asylum accommodation starting in 2029 when the current ones run out, which 2029, I seem to remember that date from somewhere. Hopefully, when reform get in, will be before 2029, and then they'll be able to negotiate much better contracts, I'm sure. Because rather than negotiating, they might just rip them up and send people back to the safe country of France if they are coming here illegally. And these renegotiated contracts from 2029 will be going up to 2036, with a possible extension to 2039. A Home Office document now estimates that these contracts will be worth £10 billion over the initial 7 years, averaging £1.4 billion a year. And this suggests that they expect high numbers of people seeking asylum in the UK well into the next decade, which I don't know about you, but personally, I think that is a very slippery slope and also quite worrying, especially when you hear that their attitudes to women isn't exactly how we see women and the crimes that often are committed, eh? But what do you all think? Let me know down in the comments.